By Owen Paul.
You're mine, you're my favorite waste of time.
You're listening to Saturday Night In on 107.8's Black Diamond FM. Louise Sullivan.
Sonic, It Feels So Good. Coming up is Encore and Fur by Sash. So here on the phone I have at Black Diamond FM, Owen Paul, a Scottish singer best known for the UK hit single My Favourite Waste of Time in 1986, the song I played there before, and it hit number 3 in the charts. He's also brought out a single in 2014 called The One. Hello Owen, how are you?
How are you doing, Louise? I'm very good, thank you.
So can you please tell the listeners what you have been up to since your hit single, My Favourite Waste of Time?
Well, it depends how long you've got, because I disappeared for a very long time.
Yes, you did.
It's one of those things, it's a standard music industry problem where record companies who control your life to a degree, I mean it's probably more so the case now than ever, but because I made a pop record, even though I was signed to them as a rock act, they wanted more pop out of me, and I was writing rock stuff. So we ended up in court, usual thing. They got a ban on me. I couldn't make a record for anyone else, so I had to just disappear behind the scenes for like 4 or 5 years, and then I suddenly decided, you know what, I quite like being anonymous, which was cool, and I started to become a bit of a sort of music arranger, record producer for people, and I got involved with bands like Mike and the Mechanics, did some albums in Japan, and sort of learnt my trade, so to speak, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then from there, I drifted onto so many other things. It's like, you know, trying to condense whatever it is, 20 years into 5 seconds. But I ran a ballroom dancing club for a while. And then the lovely Boy George walked into the ballroom dancing club one afternoon and asked us, would we make this place into a theatre? We, of course, said yes. And then Boy George funded our building that we had the lease on for the This is right in the middle of the West End of London in Leicester Square. And then, in effect, overnight, we became a theatre. And we had the Boy George musical Taboo, and we weren't sure whether it would run for it could last for 2 days or 2 weeks or 2 years or whatever. And so in our contract it said that whenever it finished, we got to keep the fixtures and the fitting, the sound system, the lighting and all the stuff and whatever. But we got a brilliant time out of it, and it lasted 2 years. So
do you like ballroom dancing yourself?
I can. Well, it's one of those things. It's because it's a bit like like the old tea dance style, where people would go and meet, and it's very sociable. That's what I love about it the most. And the music takes a bit of getting used to, but over the years that I was doing it, I got to meet some lovely people and see people that were like either recently separated from their partners, or widowed, or widowers, or whatever, and they had somewhere to go on a regular basis. It was a brilliant social thing, and to watch people not having to be stuck in their houses was a brilliant thing, and I'm very proud to be involved in that. And then over the time, I learnt a few steps myself, because sometimes it'd be mostly women that would come to such events, and they would be short on men dancers. So me and my business partner, we learnt the dances so that we could step in when there were a man or two short.
All right.
So you never know, I might end up in Strictly at some point.
All right, well, I'll keep my eyes out.
Yes.
My eyes open, I mean. Well, it says you've co-produced a song for Eurovision, is that right?
Yeah, that is absolutely right. I was working with a guy called Peter Van Hook on an album. In fact, you were talking about earlier on, and the song The One comes from that album. And while I was working with him, both Mike Rutherford from Mike and Mechanics and Paul Carrick were around the studio at the same time. And Paul Carrick, in particular, he had a girl that was his backup vocalist, a very young kid who was maybe 13, 14 years of age, but she had the most incredible voice, a girl called Lindsay Drakis. And then that was in 2001, was it? Exactly. And then we found a song that was going to be put forward for Eurovision, and then I was asked to produce it with Peter Van Hook, which I did, and it was a fantastic experience. It's an unusual thing to do, the Eurovision thing as such. But we ended up winning the UK part of it by miles, because it was such a cracking song, and she was brilliant. And then we've gone to I think it was Copenhagen where the final was.
What was the song called again? Was it?
No Dream Impossible.
Yeah, that's right. That was a great song, to be honest.
Cracking song, and it was written by a guy called Russ Ballard, who's famous for writing songs like Since You've Been Gone. You know that song, Rainbow?
Oh, yeah,
Since you've been gone, since you've been gone, da, da, da. He wrote that, and he wrote I Surrender, I Surrender.
Yeah.
He also
That was a
wrote
great
God
song.
gave rock and roll to you. He wrote that song. This guy's got like a back catalogue of,
Oh, right, yeah, he is a good writer. That's a great song.
And he wrote that song, and then we produced it, won the British part of it, so that meant we went forward to the final, got through, and then unfortunately, we hadn't predicted it, but the young kid, when she got in front of an audience of like the wrong side of 35,000, she froze on the night. And she was a bit of a rabbit in the headlights type thing.
Yeah.
And which was a great shame, because she had everything. She had a brilliant voice, great personality. She's a girl from Sheffield, and she's still singing now, and she still goes out on tour and stuff, and she's very, very good. But that's virtually with a record company view, because she froze at the big moment. They didn't want to really know about her, but the song was a brilliant success for us.
Yeah, definitely. Well, she was a good singer as well.
Yes, indeed.
So what else have you been up to? Have you been? It says that you were in Simple Minds. Is that right?
Well, that's not exactly true. My brother Brian was the original drummer in Simple Minds.
Oh, right. Oh, I never knew that.
Yes, and he was the drummer, because Brian, Jim Kerr, Charlie Burchill, Mick McNeil, Derek Forbes, all formed bands way back in the sort of mid to late 70s, when we were all still at school, and we all pretty much went to the same school.
Oh, right.
And so I used to hear them rehearse in our basement a lot, and I was around at their early recordings, and I used to just sort of hang around a little, because I was like 3 or 4 years younger than them, and I used to just hang around, try to learn what was going on, and I was always fascinated with what they were doing and stuff. So I learned my sort of recording studio techniques and production techniques probably through them, which was great. And then some years later, obviously, because my brother Brian left the band and Derek Forbes left the band, they then got approached by a promoter saying, you guys wrote the songs just as much as the Simple Minds guys, you should be out there doing it. So we got it as XSM.
Right.
So it's like 2 ex-members. I do the singing. I don't try and imitate Jim. It's not a tribute act at all. It's my brother's songs with Derek Forbes' songs. I then bring my own flavour to it. And over the last, 10 years, we've done UK tour, we've done Holland, Germany, the Philippines, Singapore, you name it, we've done it.
And you've also been in Rewind, is that right? Rewind.
I've done it. Well, yes, the Rewind festivals. Actually, this was the first main year that I got asked to do it, because for a long time, I'm sure you can imagine, from a booker's perspective, the guys, the agents and the bookers who put on these shows, they're always thinking, Owen Paul's good at what he does, but from a public perspective, what does he do after he does the big song? What happens then? Which makes it hard for me to get those bookings. But this year, I did it with BEF. Do you know what that is?
No, what is that?
Okay. Heaven 17 and the Human League split up way back in the day, and then they formed different separate groups, and one of which was called BEF, which is the British Electronic Foundation.
All right.
Two of the guys out of Heaven 17, Glenn Gregory and Martin Ware, approached me this year to come on as their guests. So what they do is they've always done guest things on their albums. So, for example, they did Tina Turner, I can't remember the name of the song, and they've done all sorts of really massive singers and made great hit records over the years. And during the show at Rewind festivals in Perth this year, we did My Favourite Was the Time, of course, but it was very much in their style, so it was very much electronic. And they also did Don't You Forget About Me as well. So I've done this year I got to do all the rewinds, and the Perth one was absolutely
Did you enjoy it?
Absolutely loved it. I've never done it. I mean, I've done many gigs off and on over the years.
Well, what was it like to get back on the stage?
Well, that's the thing about it. I mean, it's a bit of a cliche, but it's one of the things that, from a sort of songwriter or artist perspective, it's the thing that's the most spontaneous, and it's the most immediate. You can go and record all you like for months on end, but you've no idea how it's going to be reacted to. When you're doing a show, like especially at Perth, which was like I think 30,000 people, you get an instant reaction whether they're getting this or not, or whether it's going to work or not. And I love working like that because I'm very much old school punk type musician, and it was an absolute honour and a thrill to do it. I'd love to do it again.
And you've brought a new album out called it's Acoustic Katie's, is that right?
Yes, I have. What happened was, it's one of those, I mean, for the last couple of years I've been doing a few acoustic shows, or even when I've been doing a full 80s show, I've periodically sung, even if it's a full band show, I've done acoustic moments within that show. And quite often, because I would do the song, you know, A Different Corner?
Yes. That's
the George Michael song.
Yeah,
right?
I've got that here right now.
Brilliant. And that song kind of started off the idea of doing an acoustic album, because I'd sung that song for like 3 or 4 years, and then obviously, sadly, last Christmas, George passed away, and I have a story to tell that's connected to that song, about how I came to hear it before it got released and stuff. And then we decided, once we recorded that version, we thought, hang on a minute, why don't we do some more songs? And now that, as you say, the acoustic EP CD is now available on iTunes and all the usual things. Amazon, iTunes, and you can get it from the owenpaul.com as well.
Well, anyway, the single "Different Corner" is for Childline.
Yes, it is.
And
we decided we would do that because it was George's favourite Charity as well.
All right, yes. And so, how can people So you've got to buy the album or the single?
No. You can download that single, and all the proceeds go to Childline, the charity, immediately by going to iTunes,
right? Okay.
Play.com, Amazon, HMV, you name it. Just type in Owen Paul Different Corner. You can download that one song on its own, and I don't get any money from it. It all goes to the Childline charity.
All goes to Childline. So there you go.
Yes,
so if you want to buy that record for Childline,
yep,
here it is. It's called A Different Corner by Owen Paul. Thanks, Owen, for phoning in.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you, Louise.
Right, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
I say love was a magical thing.
By Owen Paul.
You're mine.